Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. It's Kim here. And today I am working on arm's length art. If you are participating or if you're curious to see what everybody's doing, just visit the Facebook group called Crafting with Eyes Wide Open, and you will see some of the different subscribers and members doing their own arm's length art for the day. Arm's length art is just doing something that, you can reach everything on your desk and kind of clear up things that have accumulated. But today I am cutting up brown paper bags. And it really isn't arm's length art, only because I've had to move into another table here. Sorry, my dog's barking outside. I had to move to another table to spread out. So I have my cutter here, I have a pair of scissors, and I have this huge collection of brown paper bags. Most of them are full-size grocery type bags or just paper bags from different suppliers and companies that offer them as an alternative to plastic. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off this square gusset on the bottom, and then I'm going to completely open up the bags, and then using my paper cutter I'm going to cut them down to 8.5 by 11 size. The reason for that is I'm going to use them to put through my printer and print on them. I do have another video, and I will link below, where I did a tutorial on how to use brown paper bags and what to use them for. From everything from printing to making clusters and the backs of journal cards, all kinds of goodies like that. So I will link that video below. But yeah, I'm going to cut them up to 8.5 by 11 size for my printer. And then all of the offcuts, I'm going to kind of separate them by size and what my plan is. And I will, through the course of the day, come back and let you know what it is I'm doing with them. And if I have time, I may even do some projects. But this is a big pile of bags. Did I mention that these bags came from my dear friend, Jennifer Dirtle, who lives in New Brunswick, not too far from me, about an hour and a half away from me. She has been collecting them ever since she saw me working with brown paper bags. And so now they come to me. They even come with my name on them, on the side of the bag. Thank you, Jennifer. I will get this work done, and you will all get to see the results afterwards. So stay tuned for more. While I'm pausing the video, I will come back and show you the results as we go along. Okay, that's it for now. Hi, everyone. Please forgive the shadows in here. I'm not using my regular setup, so there's always going to be a little bit of shadowing going on in here. So I just thought I'd show you really quickly my process, and it's going to be noisy. So the first thing I do is I take my cutter and I cut off this end seam here. Now my cutter is 15 inches, but if you have a smaller one, I'm sure, like if you're using a 12-inch cutter, it'll still fit pretty nicely. So I've trimmed it off on that side, just a little bit off the edge. And so I'm going to do the same thing on this side by refolding the bag the opposite way. And just trimming off this edge. I just find this a little bit faster to do it this way than to actually cut with the scissors. So then I've got the two sides of the bottom of the bag, and I just take my scissors and get in here, and I just cut along the fold line to take this part out. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You're going to find too that if these are used bags, you're going to have different wrinkles and things in them, and so you'll have to smooth things out a little bit as you go along. So now I'm taking the rest of this out. And normally I use these pieces for the backs of journal cards. They've got a little bit of a gusset here. I usually rip them open. And I use them for the back of journal cards, for the back of collage, masterboards, that type of thing. But you know, I was looking at these, and I've got quite a stack here already because I've been opening up these bags. And I thought this would make a really cute journal. So I think they're going to get folded in half, but I will think about it a little bit more. and, you know, do some covering on them and stuff, and turn them into a little journal. So we will see. So once I've got the bottom taken out of here, then I look for wherever the seam is. And the seam is right here. So I take my scissors and just cut along. You know, you get a guide because it's an overlap on the outside as well as on the inside. And I just cut along that line. So you don't even have to measure, nothing. Just cut it to open it up. And you'll find that the other side of it is still on this side as well. So I could just cut that strip off, but I just as soon wait and see how my bags, or how many 8.5 by 11 pieces I get out of here. So right now this bag is still pretty big and bulky. So usually what I like to do, I'm just going to kind of fold it up again. There we go. After I've cut the seam, I usually don't open it. I was just opening it to show you. So now I got to fold it up again. Okay. So it's still pretty bulky. So what I like to do is I like to trim a little bit off the bottom as well as off the top, because often along the top you'll find some rough edges. But I don't trim it right away to 11 inches because in the folds of the bag, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's straight. Does that make sense? So I usually trim it to about maybe 14 inches. Depends on what your printer can handle. Your cutter. So if you have a cutter that's only 12 inches, then you want to cut it down to 12 inches. But what I do is I give myself a nice clean edge on the top. And yes, I keep all this. This becomes collage paper. And so then I do the same thing on the other side and just trim it down a little bit on the other side, not being too concerned about how perfect it's lined up. But this just gets rid of all of the wrinkly bits, and now it's one big long sheet. If I can open it up again, it's one big long sheet that I can now cut into 8.5 lengths or widths, and then I will trim it to 11 inches. Now when I cut them, I'll just cut one here to make sure to show you. Now this is the first one, so I'm just going to line it up as best as I can here. And I've cut it, I'm cutting it to 8.5 in width. And then I go down to the 11 inches in the height or length. And so these will be my leftover pieces. These are great for making scrappy notebooks. They're great for collage, snippets, snippet rolls, like you can glue them all together if you want to make a continuous piece. Even these really weird torn offcuts, I could glue this to here and just keep going and turn this into a long paper snippet. I can repair that little piece there and just keep going and make a huge long roll. Scrappy notebooks are one of my favorite things to do with it, as well as the using it as collage or journal paperbacks or the backs of tags, all kinds of things. But I will sort through all this and show you the finished pieces afterwards. So here's the first bag. Thank you, Jen. So here's my first 8.5 by 11 piece, and I will continue all day long until all of those bags are gone. But I just thought I'd start the camera again and show you how I take apart one bag. Okay, I'll be back shortly. Hello again, I am back. So, I am finished cutting up all these paper bags. And that was a job and a half. Let's see, the time. It took me about 4 hours to cut all these. But I have now this nice big huge stack. It's 140 pages that are 8.5 by 11 in size. So yes, some of them have printing on the other side. I will deal with that as I use them. But this will now go upstairs to my printer, and I will print over top of these and use it for different, whether I use it for signature pages or if I use it for making collage. I have a nice stack that I can put through my printer, all cut to 8.5 by 11. And so in doing that, these are all the bag bottoms that I had. And as I mentioned earlier, usually I would just tear this apart and use it for scrappy collage, you know, for doing snippets or clusters or even on the back of journal cards. But because they're such a nice size, I thought, at first I thought they would be great signature pages. But they do require a little bit of work, and so I'd have to collage over top of them. This doesn't open up, it's just the end of the bag. Excuse me. So I think for the most part, I could see them being journal covers. So I would cover on both sides, maybe with fabric or papers, and then just make small signatures to go inside. But I have quite a few of them here, so that will be a fun play in itself. I probably have about 40 or so here. I think about 40, maybe a little bit better. So that'll be a fun play in itself to work on making some sort of mini journals to use up maybe some 6x6 papers or just scrapbook pages just as they are, and then, you know, just do some trimming and adjusting as I go along, but not really that much to fix up. So these I will definitely use. These pieces here are kind of the offcuts, the larger ones. Some of them are not super large, but they're big enough to cover the backs of journal cards, or to, you know, use for the back of tags, that type of thing. There are a few larger sheets in here. I would probably do ink stamping and collage with them. So they'll still get used up one way or another. And then I have lots of these. I must have 140 of these, because this pretty much comes at the end of each page when I was cutting it down to the 11 size. I could have left these at 8.5 by 14. I did think about that, because this is about a 3-inch piece. But I have other paper bags, so if I ever need an 8.5 by 14, I can just cut them as I need them. It's not a common size for me. I don't use it that often, but there is a possibility, and I have more bags, so that's no problem. So these pieces, they're about 3 inches by about 8.5. I will probably use these for making scrappy notebooks or matchbooks, that type of thing. Then I have this long strip. This is where I cut the bag, and it's got that double seam. So when I then chopped the bag into pieces, this is what was left over at the end. Now I can use that seam in there. It really doesn't matter to me. It just makes it a little bit thicker. These would be fun to make sort of clean up, what I would call clean up snippets, where, you know, maybe I take one of these and just clean up some odds and end papers that are lying on my desk, or, you know, maybe a certain color, and I just scrap them over top and then add some fabric, and then the next thing you know, I've got these little clustery things that I can cut up. So these will get used, no problem. So the last thing I have is this pile here, and this is what is off-cut when, you know, from the top of the bag, where it has this little divot in there, just to make the bag straight. They are bigger pieces. This can be used again for a snippet roll. You know, I can just glue several pieces together and just keep going, or I can use this as small clusters. I use this stuff a lot. So this will just go into a plastic freezer bag, and it'll be close by, and it'll be gone in no time. This little pile doesn't bother me. It's daunting when you first look at it, but it doesn't bother me because I use this kind of stuff all the time. The other thing I kept was these paper handles, and I know it's excessive for some of you, but I like to use everything, and you know I do. But, you know, it's a little bit of a chore at first to open up the first seam because they are glued. and it's doable, which is why I'm torching myself and doing it on TV or on the video. Why do I say TV all the time? I guess it is like TV. I actually watched YouTube today on the big screen, so I had a great time because I don't usually sit in this part of the basement, and so I was able to see the TV and watch YouTube videos in full screen. Do you know how big Gail Austinelli's hands are? In the big screen? Huge. Sorry, Gail. But it was Scrappy Saturday. So yeah, once you pry this open, the little bit of glue, this opens up to a nice big size piece of paper. And this is perfect to cover the backs of 2 journal cards, 3 journal cards, 2 tags, however you want to cut it. You can use it as the background and collage on top and have an instant tag base. So these are things that I use up all the time. I have no problem saving the handles to use for that. It's something I've been doing for as long as I can. I've been collaging. And so this little pile will be gone quickly. So that is my follow-up to my arm's length art. That is what I did today. I finished early, so I get to do something else for the rest of the day. And I've got some journals that I'm working on, so I'm going to go do some sewing. And by the time I put all of this stuff away and take the paper upstairs, my day will be done. So that's it for today's video. I hope you also played along with arm's length art. I haven't done a draw yet. I'm waiting until I have my digitals done, and then I will be doing some draws using the digitals. So hopefully next week I will have some of that stuff done. As for the rest of the week, we're back to Techniques Tuesday on Tuesday. And as I mentioned, I'm pretty much going to be taking time off in between to do my own thing, but I will turn on the camera if it's something that I think that you guys need to see. So there will be videos almost every day, not every day, but almost every day. And I will be back at it again on Tuesday with Techniques Tuesday. So I wish you all a very creative weekend. And I look forward to seeing you all soon. Hopefully I'll have my digitals done early next week. My latest and last kit for the coffee site. And stay tuned for more information on that. Talk to you all later. Bye now.